Here's Hermes. Lots of stuff there. Hermes is the best god if you want to learn all this alchemy stuff. He is the guy, your guy of alchemy. He's your poster boy.
Hermes Trismegistus, you keep hearing about, don't you?
Yeah.
Same guy.
Same guy.
Thrice great.
Mercury, call him what you like.
Yeah.
So, look at these at you will, but I'd just like to point out again, we can see a Hermes in the bottom left with lots of robes flowing around him, and once again you can see there's lots of mushrooms hidden in his robes.
Oh my God! Yeah, there's caps everywhere. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I count. Yeah, should be 7 really, but maybe we're missing one.
His hat itself, if you look like towards the centre of that, his hats are clearly mushroom shaped.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
The top one particularly, where he's holding a globe, the second one in.
Yeah, and the one with the panpipes as well. That looks like a mushroom cap. Yeah, exactly. We get the picture.
Yeah, it's just the same thing over and over again.
Mushroom god.
One of the cool things is that if you look at, there's one of him in stone with a boner.
Yeah, sexy that one.
In a pillar. That's getting at this analogy that you actually use this quicksilver, this mercury, this sexual force to power yourself, to chip away at yourself. You are an unformed, unpolished stone, and you've got to find yourself within this rough ashlar.
A rough ash. You beat me to it. A rough ashlar.
I can see it on your lips.
Yeah, it's reminiscent of something from last week.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he's in the bottom right there with the menorah candlesticks, which is a spine, and the 7 lights. I'm just showing it's always this same stuff over and over again. Yep. If we got shoot to the top, though, you can see him with a lamb over his shoulders because he was a shepherd, just like Jesus was. And you find liberty caps, absolutely hard to do with sheep.
I'm just seeing this now, but that image with the lamb, if you look right in the middle of his chest, that looks very much like the compass and square.
It probably is
that
too.
Am I just seeing that or what?
I can't tell from here, but you might well be right.
I wish I could zoom in. It looks quite Freemasonic.
Well, when I re-listen to this episode, I shall look it up for you and send you my findings.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that for you. Left of that, we've got him, same Mercury with a dog's head and serpent's legs. We've already determined the serpent's legs are the unconscious, the feminine. That dog's head there is represented as him as a psychopomp, i.e. going fetching things like a dog does.
Yeah, messenger.
Yeah, the messenger
gods.
dog. Yeah. Yep. And the underworld, Kerberos and Anubis. These dogs, underworld dogs, because they go and fetch things. There's a part of the psyche linked to Mercury and Virgo. Virgo's often represented by a dog because it's kind of the librarian part of your intellect. Somebody says something to you and then you do a bit of pattern recognition and then there's some librarian goes in there, gets you the book off the shelf, and then suddenly you're speaking whatever that was.
Into the mind palace.
Yeah, there's the fetching aspect of the intellect represented, cool. I.e. gnosis, because... like with remote viewing and many of these other things, it's getting into that higher mind and not thinking and just kind of snatching at the first thing that comes into your head via that inner librarian. Do you know what remote viewing is?
Yeah, roughly? Remote viewing, yeah. Men who stare at goats.
Yeah, well, that's how it's done.
Yep.
That's how it's done.
Right, on that dog one, top row, the relief, not the statue, there's another sort of shell thing behind his head. You mentioned enlightenment before. Is that back to that kind of imagery?
It's the imagine a shell and a lady's parts, and there's often
I can imagine a lady's parts.
Yes. Well, that's Venus, and the reason why an oyster is an aphrodisiac is because it looks like a fanny.
One of the first images you showed us was that picture of Venus coming out of the
shell,
the clam shell, wasn't it?
So there's lots of things in there, but one of the reasons is because if you turn it upside down, it looks like a mushroom. There's a mushroom thing, especially the red mushroom. They look like a shell, and the name mushroom means form of the sea. So there's lots of things going on here together. And actually, that dog has opium poppies in his left hand as well. He has 3 opium poppies. So it's just the same stuff over and over again. Doesn't matter the drug. It's just that mushroom is particularly handsome and cool graphic design wise. Next one quickly. Right, so here's the cool thing. If you want to learn how to do all this stuff, you've got guys like Mantak Chia and a few others who was actually a Christian, a Manichaean Christian, and there's a Chinese Manichaean church. Manichaean Christianity was like a Silk Road religion and picked up lots of things and kind of came from Persia, just like Mithraism did, and looks a little more untouched than the version of Christianity we eventually got. The original Christianity looking much more like the Egyptian religion or Gnosticism and things like that.
Yes, because they were all stamped out and persecuted. The Manichaeans, the Gnostics, the Valentinians.
Murdered,
yeah.
Wiped out. And if you look...
We just had the snake guys instead with the snake chapels.
Well, there's a snake guy on there. If you look at the tree, if you look at the things in relief in the top image... you've got basically a tree as a mushroom, then you've got a serpent with 7 heads, and then you've got a dead body with a Saturnian scythe next to it. So it's just repeating all these things over and over again.
Yep.
They have the tree of life. It turned out that one of the main points of Chinese religion was connecting to the pole star and the plough and all this stuff. So they've got a preserved version of it. It's in Taoism. It's all over the shop. You can see there's 2 heads sagittally cut there with you can see the brains. Can you see that there?
Yeah.
And one of them, these are from a Mantak Chia, but one of them's pointing to the plough and the other one's pointing to the pole star. They've got, you're thinking about the plough or you're thinking about the pole star. They're analogies for meditative states. Thinking about the plough will be seeing your mind going over the 7 sages, and it revolving around and just watching your mind. Thinking about the pole star will be all that stop now. You're not even looking at your mind anymore. That's quieting down. There's no space, no time. There's no you anymore. It's just you are like the universe is unconscious.
You've been annihilated.
Conscious. Yes, but you're still there. There's the witness still there. Yeah. Nothing else. And we said before, as above, so below. We were saying that the lower half of your body is like the upper half of your body. I was being a bit tricky there. In Kundalini, in Indian style yoga, what they're doing is saying, right, you stop worrying about your willy parts and everything else, the chakras related to the lower half of your body. You just stop worrying about those, even fasting and things like that, so you're not eating. And then because they're sealed off and you're not having to expend anything on those anymore, that energy that you would have used there now comes to the upper half of your body. Your throat gets activated, your third eye gets activated, and all these other things get activated. That's what I meant. Also, that there are 2 kinds of unconscious. There's your everyday unconscious that we're all familiar with. And then that higher state of mind is also unconscious. But they're 2 different kinds of unconscious. One's a messy, chaotic, horrible, you don't know what's down there. When I first heard about psychedelics when I was younger, I was scared because it was like, I don't want to take those. I don't want to see what's in there. There might be something horrible in there. That's the unconscious, the normal unconscious, the thing that you're scared of.
Right.
This higher unconscious, there's nothing in there. It's just you, the witness, and that's it. But it's still unconscious. It's just it's not got this grimy, horrible crap in there. You're clean and clear. You're above it all.
Right.
And that's the real meaning of the real meaning of as above, so below. Wow. In Christian prayer, what is it? On earth as it is in heaven. So if you want to learn all this stuff, you can go to China. Can you move our grotty faces one last time, please? And you can see again, look, it's the same stuff. They've got a square and a compass. There's a pole star above them. And if you look in the skirt again, in the pleats, you got the mushrooms there again.
Sure.
You got the 2 serpents binding together. And we'll see in future episodes, all those in the future episode, the last one, I promise.
Come back every week.
I love you guys, man. So all those little dots everywhere combine together to make something that I've called the pattern.
Right.
The pattern... We'll get into the pattern's my personal major discovery, and
save it.
We'll save it. Let's.
No,
I think
tease, Ryan.
We'll tease. I'll show you in a second. So, Aeon and Kundalini, the whole serpent up the spine stuff. It's all getting at the same shit.
Look at that shit down the bottom.
Yeah, do you like that bottom row?
I love it.
It's just
got the anchor, the Cairo, the cross, caduceus, mushroom. Hello.
All the same thing.
That's what's the Jewish one near the middle. It's like a
Hamza.
Hamza, yeah, the bell. And what's the guy? And then you got the guy with the raven.
Yeah, the sacred antijoin.
The old chalice with the snakes coming out of it.
Mm-hmm. And the raven on his other hand.
Yes.
Stood on the moon, the symbol for the unconscious.
As Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm. Something I found out that was really interesting was we'd said it before, and I'd just been watching something totally different, and it was going on about how your actual biology itself is super accelerated towards spotting serpents, snakes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like more than anything else. Anything else your body does as far as alerting you to stuff, fight or flight, it's the serpentine form. And it seems to be going way back. And it's there in lots of other animals. But your ability to spot a snake is just... So you can see why they're using serpents, because it's something you're scared of. There's all these unconscious things, like I was just saying about when I heard about psychedelics, and I didn't want to take them because I didn't want to see what was down there. Well, you're scared of it. You're scared of these unconscious serpent impulses. So it's like Moses sticking the thing on the cross. Yes, it's getting this energy and having it fixed there. So you're kind of a magic person now. But it's also, in order to do it, you've got to take these unconscious, horrible, scary things and nail them on the cross and look at them. And go, oh shit, that's that scary thing. I don't even like to think about it. And then think about it, and then it reveals its mysteries to you. And then you go, oh, it's that time my dad hit me when I was 5. And I knew he was sorry because I saw the look on his face after, but it still affected me. Do you know what I mean? Wow. This thing didn't happen, by the way. I'm just using it as
it's an analogy. Yeah. Love it.
So from the Jed pillar on the left down to the serpent in the cup and the Tau row on the end, they're all the same thing.
Absolutely.
All the same.
That's fantastic.
And I think that is your lotto. Yeah, that's just my own personal.
Well, let's quickly do these. Have a look at some of the comments and see what we can come up with. Hopefully, there we are. Look at us fading in tastefully.
That's lovely.
Back in. Let's go through some of the because we've got some really cool comments off folks. So don't want to ignore people.
No.
Blah blah, Kelly, Anna, thanks. Fantastic content, brilliant. Time is what makes this life experience feel so real. Time is the marking point, man. It's like the fact that we have seasons. Imagine if we had no seasons, the world just went round the sun. How would you measure it? We need to. The seasons are fundamental for our concept of time. It's so fundamental. It's crazy. Don't you think it's a bit of a coincidence? This is from Tony. Don't you think it's a bit of a coincidence how the sun perfectly eclipses... how the moon perfectly eclipses the sun?
I don't know anymore, no. But, as a layman, how weird's that? The sun's 400 times larger than the moon, and the moon's 400 times, or is it 400,000 or something?
That's probably 432.
Yeah, probably something like that.
We're lucky that it covers it now. In like 100,000 years, it'll be smaller, and the ring will be bigger because the moon is moving further away.
According
100,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
But that's according to what we think now, but we don't have enough evidence to say any of these things are happening.
It's like they look at the satellite and they say, it's moving 4 inches away every year. Bullshit. That'll get rectified.
Yeah.
It'll move 4 inches away. It might move 4 inches away for 1,000 years, and then it'll start coming closer.
Yeah.
These things are in sync.
Yeah.
It appears that way anyway. This is just from looking at everything. This is our gut feeling. So we're no better than they are, but that's a gut feeling for them as well.
Yeah, I can't prove it, but that is my instinct. Yeah, it's not a fucking coincidence, man.
No, it's so weird. The moon's a very suspicious object, from it seeming hollow to all the stories about it to the fact that although the craters on the moon only go so deep, as if there's some kind of a shell inside it. The amount of titanium that's on the surface makes it really reflective, and it's like, why would you get titanium in that amount everywhere? the fact that they've launched rockets at it and it rang like a bell, seemingly hollow. You know, you hear a lot of the ancient stories, and they talk about a time when the moon wasn't even there, and that the moon was rolled in like a dragon's egg, they say. And what, an egg's hollow, so you never know.
The traveler.
System update.
Yeah.
And the effect that the moon... Well, another thing about the moon is that it's compared to every other planet, the moon's huge. Like, you look at Mars, Phobos and Deimos, the two moons of Mars, are little asteroids. They're like little potatoes flying around the shop.
The moon's like a quarter of the size.
You know, you're supposed to be the hard one of the solar system, Mars. Work it out. Come on. With your little potatoes. Thanks, Tony.
Kellyanna, also interesting is there isn't much evidence to suggest they would eat the beef after this ritual, mainly chicken. I don't know what that's in reference to.
The
Taurochs
of the bull.
Yeah. I don't know if they slaughtered a bull in the ceremonies. That would be quite expensive, wouldn't it? I mean, these guys were certainly limited. Imagine like you're turning up to the Masons, but you can't move out of your station to some extent. They were saying there's a freedom in there. A slave couldn't become the Grand Master. That wouldn't be cool. He can move up and down the ranks, up and down the grades, but he can't be, Grand Master. So I forgot what that was on about.
It's a limiting factor. Sacrifice is very interesting. It's like that was the whole thing of Jesus turning over the tables in the temple, because for the Jews they had to sacrifice a pristine lamb. I mean, it had to be pristine white lamb. And like at Passover, Jerusalem's like a festival. It's like Glastonbury in summer. And you don't want to risk, you're a poor working family with a bit of a homestead. You've got your pristine Passover lamb. You don't want to risk taking him through the middle of the town. So the guys who ran the temple said, we've got loads of lambs here. You just give us the money and we'll give you the pristine lamb. Or the dove, if you can't afford lamb. We'll give you a pristine white dove. And that's what Jesus was kicked. According to the story, that's where he was kicking off because they were. I won't go there.
I think the sacrifice thing is really interesting, philosophically. People had worked something out that's really important there, and that is that you can't achieve anything without sacrificing. Like anything you want to achieve that's worth achieving, you have to sacrifice something. And then you can see how that idea, which probably did start off in animal sacrifice, and even like sacrificing your energy, I need to plant these crops. Well, it's going to take, 2 weeks to do that. Well, if we do it, we can live through the winter. Yeah. Well, that went from that, to animals. Animals are worth more to your kids, to the kids of the elites. In Carthage and places like this, you hear about
Sparta.
Yeah. And so they realized that actually the more valuable the sacrifice, the more valuable it is. The more you can get from it. It's energy exchange in the end, but also like that human capacity to act out the psyche, to act out these understandings of the unconscious, much to our detriment much of the time. Look at the Aztecs and the Mayans for that. They went mad with it.
Got Tony again. The first religion was ancestor worship and was universal. They all had a way of using psilocybin, mescaline, etc. Some places didn't have access to this, so they danced for days until they tranced out.
Yeah, the whirling dervishes who are connecting to the pole star and doing the pole star spin. Yeah. There's lots of them like that. Well, as a kid, I had you taking the breath then, but as a kid, the first thing you do to get off your head is spin round. Yeah. Until you fall over. And that's why you're doing it. You're doing it. Oh God, it's a different state of mind.
You're playing with your psychology. Ancestor worship was massive for the Romans. They would, the upper classes would have like dedicated hall where they would have the death masks put up of all their ancestors. So if you went to Julius Caesar's house, all the famous guys from the Julii family would be pinned up there, and that put pressure on you
to get
as a. You had this to live up to, this not royal, but this ancestral reputation to live up to.
Going earlier back, that ancestral spirit thing is really the skills that they'd learned that they passed on to you, the plants that they'd eaten, and you know, suffered from. Oh, I shouldn't have eaten that. Or I've eaten this one. Oh my God, try that. You know what I mean? It's these skills that they've done, and it's respect for those things.
Annie's with his fish skirt coming over and, you know, giving us a lesson.
Mm.
Okay, Tony, 7. Oh, right, it's just adding on to we talked about the 7, how important 7 is. The 7 seas, the 7 continents, the 7 colours of the spectrum, 7 sins, 7 notes of an octave, 7 I arms of Jesus, 7 sticks on the menorah, 7 it's all there.
Yeah.
Apparently, the Native Americans used the transsexual member of the tribe, called by them special people, to represent them on communication to the spirit realms.
Yeah.
Wow, transsexual member.
For the same reason. The shamans seem to be...
Like an androgyne.
Well, they were dressed like clowns. And, very androgynous. And because it's the trickster coming in again. Mercury's the trickster. It's this androgynous character, which is the mind. It's the intellect. It's the left and the right hemispheres of the brain. And connecting those two things together and going beyond them, we're going to this pole star stuff again. And you find, like I said, the swastikas in North America, and they would do these dances and have things stuck to the head, and you know, it's the same thing over and over.
They were all onto it.
Yeah,
across the globe.
They saw, especially like bi-gendered people, or whatever the term you're allowed to say is these days, people that were sexually ambiguous were, you know, seen as being holy, and I can see why, because they've got a touch of the male and they've got a touch of the female, and these things are easier to do to some extent. You'd be certainly more creative and artistic, wouldn't you?
Well, look at David Bowie.
Yeah. Yeah, look at T-Rex. There's lots of, you know.
Yeah, that was not a facetious comment.
No.
And he's not even dead.
He's not even dead.
Have you not seen that video of the day after? Was it the day after David Bowie died? On Sky News, where they interview his mate, who looks exactly like him. Oh, God,
yeah, wasn't that weird? Yeah, like
weird.
Really weird.
Even sounds like
yeah.
It's like, God, you're doing your own obituary live on TV. It's creepy.
But that would
Google it.
Yeah, Google it. It is weird, because you'd be like, "Is he had surgery?" But no, couldn't have surgery that's that good. Or it's weird. It was weird.
A Freemason's apron represents the material body. When they become a master mason, they fold up the triangle part, which represents the astral body. Not all masons will agree with this. It's speculative. Yeah, it's cool. It's good thought.
I agree with parts of that. I think mostly that lamb's wool is to represent purity. You know, you're at the beginning of the zodiac, and also it's covering up your genitals. And it's got measurements on there. You got a pyramid in there and a few other things. It goes back to the Egyptian aprons, which are demonstrably about things like the square root of 2, square root of 5, square root of 3.
We didn't even get into circuit geometry tonight.
I know, mate. That's what I'm gutted. But with literally the next slide has numbers on it.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait. It's been a treat again, right? I'm gonna have to sign off. But I loved it. I love going into this stuff. It just fascinates me, and the different connections. And
fantastic.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it? It's interesting.
Yeah, I love it.
Well,
we'll look forward to part 5.
Is it really part 5?
Yeah,
it is, isn't
5.
it? Oh, wow.
We're going to have to go to 7, aren't we?
Yes! It has to be, doesn't it? It's going to have to be 7.
Yeah.
Anyway, anything you want to plug? Tell people where to go
I
if
want
you want
to
find out
plug
more.
the Amish Inquisition for being awesome. You've got some great guests on here, and basically, it's a jolly old time.
That'll do. I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll absolutely take that. And we'll be back for part 2 after a brief respite. And we'll quickly do some housekeeping, some news, lots of some fun stuff, and have a laugh. But it's been a pleasure, Ryan. Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
See you nice.
And we'll see you next time. Take care.
Cheers, Ryan.
Love you. Bye.
Bye, man.
The dwarf, the cripple, and the mother of madness.
Save Plopland.